Hello. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on how small and medium businesses accelerate growth with AI and ML. This webinar is co-hosted by ITTStar, who's an AWS Advanced Consulting Partner, and AWS itself. We've got some great speakers lined up today. We have Nagraj, who is the Practice Director for AI, and we work together at ITTStar while I head marketing at ITTStar. And we have Taze, on the other hand, who's the Partner Solutions Architect at AWS. And we're very excited for all of you to join us today. The agenda for today's webinar is as follows. We'll spend the first 15 minutes on challenges faced by SMBs and how AWS and ITT Star together help customers deliver their desired outcomes. Then we'll dive into how AWS helps SMBs power through digital transformation using a vast service, various AI and ML services. Moving to some customer use cases that ITT Star has built. And then we open the floor to some question and answers that you might have. So do leave in your questions in the chat and we'll try and answer all of them through the webinar here. Organizations need digital transformation to be agile and to be able to go to market without any disruptions. This has been evident in the current disruption caused due to the pandemic, and that has forced many organizations to react and drive more and more digital transformation. While supporting remote work is extremely evident, other initiatives that organizations have to accelerate are in the areas of automation and digitization. And we'll see later how AI and ML is the center of all these initiatives. So SMBs have various needs to drive business growth. They need new capabilities to support their businesses. Most organizations today need a new way to reach customers and strengthen relationship with their existing customers. The traditional strategy that used to be used considers customers as few monolithic segments using static characteristics are failing to personalize their customer engagement to grow their businesses. In addition to business growth, organizations also need to be agile and reduce business cost and risk. To achieve their businesses, they also need to make better business decisions based on data, automate business processes, and secure their organization. These collectively are the centerpieces of digital transformation that small, medium businesses need in order to create a competitive advantage in the market today. Also, SMBs face many challenges. We all understand that small, medium businesses have limited resources and need to prioritize what capabilities they can build to meet that strategic business objectives to maximize their growth. Organizations need to access infrastructure resources without significant investment and need ability to try technologies rapidly to meet the strict timeline. Organizations also, with limited budget, struggle to get access to specialized resources and need a partner to solve these challenges for them. ITT Star is an advanced partner with experience in helping organizations dealing with these challenges and can accelerate the adoption of AWS services to deliver the desired business outcomes. So this is where we come in play. To deliver digital transformation outcomes based on AI and ML, we offer customized solutions and services that focus on 6 key areas of digital disruption. With our data analytics capabilities, we help our customers collect and organize all their customers and enterprise data and apply machine learning models and advanced analytics to help their customer refine their customer acquisition strategy altogether and make better business decisions. Our AI and ML capabilities help customers build engaging experiences for their customers using AI capabilities such as chatbots and understand customer sentiments for enhancing the experience. Finally, our customers want to do this at a low cost and be extremely agile. We focused our AI, ML, and cloud experience to onboard customers on AWS first and automate their business process to deliver operational and business efficiency. So we have prescribed solutions for our customers in all the 6 areas of digital transformation. The first one being digital user engagement. We use AWS services such as Pinpoint and Connect that deliver an engaging customer experience and help our customers build a complete digital customer journey. We also build data ingestion capabilities and data platforms on cloud to help customers understand what their customers' requirements are and make better and informed decisions. Customers today need AI ML capabilities such as image recognition, sentiment analysis, voice recognition in their products to create an engaging customer experience. For pre-trained AI and cloud native services, we build an architecture for our customers that is easy to enable and grow with the customer's business using serverless and managed services from AWS. We also support customers who want to build businesses agile and make them agile and reduce cost of operations. This is especially relevant for customers who are enabling remote collaborations and remote working, especially post-COVID-19. Automation and robotic solutions is built on advanced machine learning that automates complex business operations such as image recognition, document processing, and automation operations, even at a manufacturing plant level. A lot of AI and ML use cases are relevant for industries across various business domains. These are some of the use cases that you can see on the screen that we at ITTStar have helped our customers develop and solve a lot of their challenges using our AI ML capabilities on AWS. ITTStar has more than 30 certified consultants that has expertise in many AWS services that helps us build the capabilities that are required by our customers. Our solutions are custom built with tools and enablers provided by AWS. We work backwards from what our customer problems are and identify best fit solutions for best fit AWS services that help build the capability that they require.
Well, this looks like a great time for me to step in for a second. Thanks for having me. My name is Taz Miller. I'm a partner solutions architect here at AWS, and I focus specifically on consulting partners. And so what that means is I get to work with great people like ITTStar every day. Now today what we want to talk about is AI ML on AWS. And to start, I'd like to talk about our mission. Essentially, what we strive to do is take our experiences that we've learned across Amazon and also tens of thousands of customers and take these to put powerful technology in the hands of every developer, data scientist, and researcher. In other words, we want to simplify machine learning and give you the tools to build intelligent applications no matter where your skill levels lie. Now to do that, we've divided our services up into 3 main layers. At the bottom of the layer is the frameworks, interfaces, and infrastructure layer for machine learning practitioners. Now, our main priority here was to put as many tools out there as possible for machine learning practitioners and experts to take advantage of. Very few experts use only a single framework, and that was important to us. And so we've provided different instance types, different computing types, and also those different frameworks for people to work on so that all of our customers have the right tool for the job. We recognize that there are not that many expert ML practitioners, and many small and medium-sized businesses may not have such expertise. And so we wanted to make it easier for everyday developers or data scientists to build, train, and tune ML models. And so that's where Amazon SageMaker and the tools associated with that come in. It's an easy platform for your people to go in and start refining those algorithms that are available to them. Now, moving to the top stack, we wanted to serve developers and companies who wanted to add solution-oriented intelligence to their applications through an API call, rather than developing and training their own models in SageMaker. And we have a lot of services in this area to address various needs. The first area is vision. Using recognition, you're able to analyze images and return data that says what is in an image, or maybe what celebrities are in an image, or even is this image safe for work. Moving to the next category, we have speech. And so if you want to turn text into speech, we have Poly, and if you want to transcribe audio, we have Transcribe. The next category is for text. And so with text, you're able to translate to other languages. If you want to understand the sentiment behind language, we have Comprehend. And if you want to take image-based data and turn it into text, we have Textract. Next, we have Kindra, a new service which reinvents enterprise search with machine learning. Then you have the things which Amazon is relatively famous for. Alexa and chatbots with Lex. We have personalization for customer recommendations. And forecasting, a machine learning-enabled tool to help you forecast future for data. After that, we also wanted to add some services that really focused on areas where we have a lot of experience in data from our consumer business. And so one of those was Amazon Fraud Detector, which what it allows you to do is detect online identity and payment fraud in real time. No machine learning experience needed. For the developers, we have Code Guru, a new machine learning service to automate code reviews and identify your most expensive line of code to help you be more efficient in your operations. For Amazon Connect users, we have Contact Lens, which provides machine learning-powered contact center analytics. And so, taking all of these, you can build a lot of amazing products without having any of that machine learning expertise. And I'm really excited because today we get to talk through some of the examples that ITTStar has built. So with that brief introduction, I hope I was able to give you some of the tools that you can use to start building out your small and medium-sized businesses' AI practices. There's a lot of great opportunities for you in this space. Additionally, if you're looking for a little bit of extra help, ITTStar has some great work that they've done, and they brought some examples for us to talk about today. And so what are we going to be talking about?
Thank you, Tace. Hi, everyone. Again, in the next 15 minutes, we are going to look at some very interesting use cases. Through these, you'll learn about how AI and ML can add intelligence and personalization to your customer, enhance your customer experience, automate IT processes and business operations, and lastly, differentiate your business and accelerate product innovations.
Awesome. And so what are the three use cases you're going to be talking about?
So the three use cases fall into retail, auto, and also logistics. So the first use case talks about how a luxury brand company used AI and ML to create a very innovative product or a platform for their customers. We'll see how an auto insurance tracking company enabled bots for better customer engagements and enhance their outcomes. And lastly, we'll look at a roadside assistance provider that used AI and ML to increase customer satisfaction and improve their operations.
Okay, yeah, awesome. That's a good range of industries that we're going to be addressing. And my understanding is that you've got a video for us to watch describing that first use case with the luxury retail brand.
Hi, my name is Abdullah Dawood. I run a software startup in stealth mode. We aim at providing luxury goods data to luxury good dealers across the world. Over the years, we've accumulated very, very large sets of data. This data came in different formats, some in paper, some in Excel files, some in databases. And it became really troublesome to provide our customers with the data they need to optimize their promotion, listing, and sales process of such luxury goods. So we turned to ITTStar, who helped us build a proof of concept that combined machine learning technologies and other technologies from Amazon, from AWS, and they showed us how we can combine this data, modernize it, digitize it, and be able to provide it in a very fast and efficient manner to our customers. This resulted in a system that is expected to reduce by more than 15 times the amount of time needed to identify a luxury product, list it, promote it, and sell it. This is a result of such very user-friendly solution that uses many of the machine learning technologies that enabled us to provide such data to our customers in a very efficient manner. Thank you.
Wow, that was pretty cool. I had no idea how much work goes into taking these books and magazines and everything and making digital copies of it. So fantastic work. I guess my next question is how did you do it?
Absolutely. Dave, we are very happy to talk about what we did, how we did, and how small and medium businesses can take baby steps towards their final end goal. When we started this project, we did not flip the switch and say, oh, let's get all the media and start processing it. We started with a very small proof of concept. It's very, very, I think it was a 6 to 8 week timeline with very defined outcomes.
Sure. And 6 to 8 weeks is actually a pretty short amount of time to develop, a proof of concept on AI ML. Years ago, there's no way you could have done that.
I agree. I always tell that if 20 years ago, if it was like 6 to 8 weeks, would have been like the basic installation of the system and configuration. Now with AWS-powered AI and ML solutions, 6 to 8 weeks is a decent proof of concept.
Right. Yeah. So what went into this particular proof of concept?
See, the biggest challenge the customer had was envision the extent of the AI and ML, whether it can work, how well it can identify images, accessories, and how can it calibrate various aspects of different media. And the focus was completely on recognition and extract, because those are the heart and soul of the solution.
Sure. That's awesome. And so looking at the diagram that's here up on our screen, it looks like you leveraged a lot of serverless technology throughout this whole solution as well. How did you come to that decision?
Absolutely. As we all know, that serverless is the future. If not, it is already there. And most importantly, when you talk about small and medium businesses, we don't expect them to run hundreds and thousands of machines day in and day out. Right? So we were trying to look at building a system that will solve a problem, but at the same time, give that cost and infrastructure benefit.
Awesome. And so just walking through this, it looks like what you have is you have your image providers, whoever it is, they upload those images and using CloudFront, which is a great cloud distribution network. And then those go into S3. What happens after that? What's this more center part of the diagram?
So once the thing is, there are different kind of users. Sometimes they are like internal, they are employees, they are like partners, and there are external, like people who use different their web and mobile application to upload their images. So to ensure that first and foremost we capture all kinds of audience across the globe and create that seamless experience in terms of able to upload and access their image or inventory easily was the goal. So that is where we created this S3 bucket where we quickly can put all the raw images. for the lack of a better term, and they're just hosted there. As soon as the images are posted, we have a Lambda that is looking at like what to do with these images, right? Like depending on who is posting, where they are coming from. The Lambda takes those images. We could have definitely used step functions, but we wanted to be little more like on the air of caution. We just didn't want to like start everything and then figure out like what is happening. So we started with the first step was recognition, right? In terms of able to extract the image, and second is able to identify. Recognition has very like a lot of good features. Like of course, I'm like one of the biggest fans there. In terms of identifying, hey, this is a watch, this is a bag, this is an accessory. All those things are taken care by recognition. So the next portion was you have media coming in different format, different sizes. Able to like normalize that size was another challenge. And guess what? AWS gave us an answer. We could take any image and we could crop the image so that it conforms to the standards, so that first it will be available and accessible to the users in a standard format. Second, when we implement the future machine learning where we are able to train custom models and labels, we'll be able to use the same images instead of reinventing the wheel.
Sure. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then, so once everything has been classified using, for example, recognition, what's cool is that's going to create basically a JSON return that says basically a confidence interval of, oh, we are X% confident that this is a bag or that this is a watch or whatever it may be. And so then if I'm understanding correctly, does that data get sent to, is that getting sent to the S3 bucket or to DynamoDB?
Great question. So what happens is the confidence level exists in different ways, right? First and foremost, when you look at every customer wants a different threshold. See, some customers might say, hey, anything over 70% is good to go, right? Mm-hmm. So they wanted it to be configurable because there are certain catalogs, some brands whose images are good like 97, 98% of the time.
Sure.
Right? Some images are not. So based on the brand, they wanted us to have the configuration and the confidence code.
Okay.
So what happens is when the confidence score falls below the threshold, it goes into a sort of like a human in the loop bucket. Mm-hmm. They have a set of experts who are going to look at the image, ensure that it is categorized correctly, classified correctly, brand and identified correctly.
Okay, I got it.
It goes to the refined bucket.
I see. And so that's where that looks like step 4, that S3 bucket is. That's where the new refined images are going. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, perfect. And then the great thing about it is if we come at this diagram from the opposite side, it looks like your users log in. It looks like you're using Amplify Incognito to handle that authentication authorization. And then they are able to access their images. Am I understanding that correctly?
That is absolutely right. So the customer has their own web and mobile application, and that we built using Amplify.
Okay.
And then we are using Cognito to authenticate and API gateway to invoke the necessary data.
That's awesome. And what I mean by that is like we kind of talked about it on the previous slide. Can we go to that slide? The slide 12. Yeah. And so, yeah, could you just talk a little bit? Like what was the outcome of this project?
So in the luxury goods segment, you will very soon recognize that it is very fragmented. The data is not stored in one place. So by implementing this solution, we were able to get all the data from different sources, right? Normalize, standardize, so that whether it's an enthusiast or whether it's a retailer, wholesaler can access.
Sure.
More importantly, when you talk about search and when you want to look at the capability to understand, hey, what does this particular luxury element look like? For example, right, like unlike if you go to a regular, say we'll take a watch, right? If you take a regular watch, you go in and say, hey, I like the dial, I like the color, it works, I'm battery changed every 4 years, you're good.
Yep.
If you look at a luxury goods segment, a typical watch has anywhere between like 22 to like 45 parameters.
Wow.
Right. So able to and if you observe, when you do a search on those, it is not as simple as, hey, I search by the model number. Luxury, the customers in the luxury goods segment have different set of expectations. For example,
Sure.
I want to search for a Rolex, say, watch 126300, right?
Hmm.
If you go and search on some of the website, it's going to be very straightforward. It gives you like 3 pages of results. But if you go to a real luxury goods website, you can see that apart from, say, it will first give you the models before and after, and it will also give you the models that have similar features.
Oh, wow.
So that kind of indexing, search, and retrieval capability is what we could provide.
That's awesome. And I'm sure that that's probably been huge for both the customers of the retail brands and also the retail brand itself. I'm sure there's a huge lift trying to get all that image processing before the solution. And then also it increases the customer's experience because they're going to find what they want easier.
Absolutely. We should remember that the images are uploaded on a daily basis.
Sure.
From different customers. So able to say, hey, look, this is the image and this is how it has to be classified, and also ensure that we are identifying all the features correctly. So this is the first step towards building the final solution.
Yeah.
There are like 2 more steps beyond this. The ultimate goal of this customer is to create some kind of like a price estimation for better.
Sure.
So when
Right.
you're looking at estimation, we should automatically able to classify all the features. I'll give you a very simple example. The serial number that every luxury item comes with a very unique serial number.
Right.
That serial number tells you who is supposed to sell this watch, or who is supposed to sell this bag.
Right.
So if the serial number doesn't match the person or the company that is selling, there's a red tag.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And secondly, when you look at the features, let's take the size of let's take handbag, right? A 6-inch band versus a 4-inch band is like huge difference in the cost.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right. So when the nuances of the features influence the price and the value of a product, we have to have a system that can quickly understand the overall picture and able to understand the nuances of that image.
Sure.
So that we are finally achieving what the customer wants.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's a really, really cool use case, and really exciting how you were able to use technology like recognition to achieve those business outcomes. And so
we are very we are very happy. Like the customer comes from a very strong technology background, and he wanted to create this one of a kind technology enabled solution.
Mhm.
And there is no solution like this in the market. And we are
Yeah.
very proud to build a platform within the AWS ecosystem.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks for sharing about that one. What about your second use case? What's going on there?
The roadside assistance is like all-time favorite for us.
Okay.
The thing is, able to quickly gain the insights from a conversation is something always fascinating.
Sure.
In many cases, what you see is we always look at the explicit data points. So what does it mean? We always look at, hey, how the customer is navigating, how the customer is performing an action. But if you start understanding, going behind the scenes, where you are understanding the nuances of an action, nuances of a conversation, where you are able to gauge the sentiment, emotion, the keywords, there are a lot more insights. You never have to conduct a survey when you have a system like this.
Right.
Yeah. So roadside assistance is a classic case of, first and foremost, the customer coming with a very specific problem. How do I increase my customer satisfaction?
Sure.
Here, unlike your traditional call center models where somebody calls, hey, my phone is not working, versus somebody stranded on the side of a road looking for assistance like right now, is a huge factor in here. Right?
Sure.
So it is all the more important for the agent to be more empathetic and more cognizant of this urgency of the situation and give the best so that the customer is not inconvenienced. Sure.
Cool. So this roadside assistance tool sounds super useful, and you have a demo to walk us through to kind of show how it works, right?
Absolutely. So here, as you have seen in the architecture, we have definitely used we have used few AWS services, including starting from S3 to comprehend, transcribe, and more importantly, quick sites.
Cool. Yeah, so QuickSight's a great one for doing your data visualization and analysis and everything. So that's really cool. Essentially, what we've got here, it looks like we're in the Lambda console. And so what are we doing here with this function?
So here we are trying to look into watching the S3 bucket for new audio recordings. So the new call recordings.
Okay.
From various sources.
Cool.
And so we didn't put too much code out there, but we're going to just show that Lambda is one of my favorite anytime. So we put some sample audio. One of the beauty of AWS Transcribe is if you compare it with any other systems out there, with this kind of compression using MP3 and MP4, it's still able to extract all the key, able to transcribe well, able to spit out the text that is very close to what it is, like close to like 80-90% accurate.
Right.
Right. So that is something that we have seen. Here we have few MP3 files the customer has posted.
Yep. So we've just got some audio files there.
Some audio files here, and as soon as it sees audio file, it gets launched and it says, hey, this is in the S3. Let's take the next step. We have to here start invoking the transcribe. So all the standard classic Boto client, which does everything for us under the sky, takes care of this too, and invokes the transcription.
And
here,
this is all happening automatically, just whenever a new file is uploaded in that S3 bucket. Is that right?
That is absolutely correct. So there is the constant monitoring, and the customer has given us certain time zones where they want to actually look at the data. They have some processes that they want to integrate. So
I see.
That's based on the configuration.
Awesome.
And one more thing is, as we look at transcribe, there are many features and functions that we can enable. So it can, first and foremost, it can give you the synopsis, it can give you the JSON form output. Our standard practice has been storing everything that AWS services fits. Like there's no, so that if we have to go back and extract some elements here and there, it's going to be easy. We are not restarting.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
So
cool.
Here you can see it is getting triggered. A lot of code here, all that works. They're looking at some of the items, some of the configuration they set, and here is our beautiful output. So so a lot of data, a lot of information. So here you can see there is a synopsis on the top, speaker level identification. Below that, you can see how each speaker spoke at a particular time. So what happens is we can get a lot of insights from this kind of data. We can say, hey, look, what happened to the overall conversation? What was the sentiment at the conversational level? What was the sentiment at the speaker level? Right? Mm-hmm. That is very key to identify, hey, what works and what doesn't work.
Totally.
Right? So this is something that we could, being in the JSON format, there are many tools out there that would allow you to take that file, see how easy it was to just take the synopsis and put it out there.
Yeah, and definitely.
And we had to, and another thing is we could redact some of the functions here. AWS Transcribe gives you that option where you can redact the PII and so on and so forth.
Right. That's awesome.
So once the text is extracted, we want to now see what does the text say, right? Here, this is where we invoke or comprehend, AWS comprehend. It talks about the sentiment across both the callers. So in any agent caller conversation, we typically see that the caller is either neutral or negative, the agent is either neutral or positive.
Right.
So
And that
right?
makes sense. Someone's calling because their car is having trouble. They're having a bad day. And so you wouldn't expect them to be super happy on the
Absolutely.
phone.
Exactly,
Um,
right?
and yeah, you'd want your customer service agent to bring in that positivity. You don't want them to be negative on the call because that's a bad customer experience.
Without a doubt. See, what happens is when we talk about training the databases and enhancing the empathy in the conversations, this is where it comes into picture. At a very high level, the conversation looks good, the transaction details look good. But when you go a little deeper, asking some basic questions, saying, hey, are you okay on the side of the road? Do you want me to help you with find a restaurant? Those small conversations, small talking points help customer a great deal,
Oh, for sure.
right?
Yeah.
So that was our observation. It's not about like, hey, let's flip the switch and start training new. And
Right.
here, as you can see, right, like the score on a scale of 1, like 0 to 1, the sentiment, negative and positive sentiment or mixed sentiment is evaluated and displayed. And we can use this in many areas, in many places. All the data is again stored in the database, as I mentioned, at every level, at every transaction, we store this data because we don't know what will be used where.
Sure. Yeah, that's awesome.
Of course, we run into some limitations in terms of how much text we can process. And the beauty of this solution was we integrated this with QuickSight, the latest and greatest AWS services that we are like very proud to be like on the leading edge in terms of implementation for our customers. So here you can, as you can see, we just took the data. It was the whole point of coming here is you can see how seamless it is, right? There's a voice file, we invoke a couple of services, and then you have a nice dashboard that tells you the story.
Right. Yeah. And this is so much easier to understand and gain insights out of compared to that JSON file dump that we were looking at earlier. That
I guess
that was a little bit heavy, a little bit bombarding to just see all that up there. This is a little bit easier to read through and understand.
Absolutely, and customers love this, and this is something that really we offered it as an add-on for our customer. We said, hey, look, you are processing all this data, but if you want real insight, I think we can integrate with QuickSight, and they were very happy to see this.
Yeah, and it looks like you even have a word cloud down there as well, which is kind of cool.
Absolutely. Like, so we started with the overall sentiment and emotion. Then we wanted to look at the word cloud, which talks about the key words that were spoken. So we'll be able to understand, hey, what are customers calling for? And then you realize quickly that, hey, if it is winter, you're talking about a dead battery. And if it is summer, you are talking about a tire. So,
yeah, and that could be really good to for those customer representatives. If they're aware of these trends, maybe they're a new employee, they could know, oh, it's summer. Summer tends to have certain issues and winter has different issues. And so when they're trying to troubleshoot on the phone, it may be good to, just have that kind of information.
Without a doubt. So this information was used at multiple levels. First and foremost, this company provides roadside assistance. They have a partner network who go and do the actual service. They were able to prepare their partners better to say, hey, look, summer is coming. If you are in this zip code, you are looking at this kind of problems.
Yep.
So, and secondly, you are absolutely right. Able to train their agents better was something of that added a lot of value.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's really cool. And so, what about the third use case? I'm pretty excited. These have all been really fun. What's the third one about?
Absolutely. We will talk about the third use case is one of the very complicated use case. So to hide our customer name, we put it as demo. But as you can see, the customer themselves, they have a platform. So I think this is one statement I want to make. When you look at various AWS services, we have worked at many levels. We worked building custom solutions. We built products. And we are now building platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So this is a classic example of building a product and a feature for their existing platform. So it's not about rip and replace, but how do you bring new services and new value add? And here That's why when you look at this particular system architecture diagram, you're looking at some MySQL databases, you're looking at NAT gateways, and you're looking at Dynamo databases. So
yeah, this what I like about this one is this one tends to be kind of it feels more like a hybrid of old and new technologies. Not to say that MySQL is necessarily old, but like compared to some of the some of the other diagrams that we've been doing, we're doing a little bit more traditional networking here and those types of things.
You're absolutely right, because this is a long-standing customer. That's the beauty, right? Like that's I think that's what we, as an AWS partner, we always tend to tell them that, look, when you have an old system, when you have legacy systems, you don't want to change everything. We will keep adding new services. Like in this particular case, like on the side note, we are like helping them transition to the newer technology.
Sure.
So this is just the starting point.
Yeah, absolutely. And what was this platform designed to do? This was for the insurance companies, right?
That is correct. So this company is primarily, what they do is insurance tracking. So when you have automobile lenders who offer insurance, there are two challenges. They usually don't get the proof of insurance on an annual basis. Second, they sometimes the customers miss the payments. So the company's job was to go out and reach out to their customers, to auto lenders' customers, to get that information.
I see. Cool. And so it looks like if I'm going through this diagram here, we've got your database and you're feeding that into a VPC. And so here's a new service we haven't seen yet, and we're using Lex. And so what's Lex all about?
Lex is all about understanding the customers. It is like the first step towards your natural language understanding, and does a great job of understanding the context and the intent of a conversation.
I see.
This is the actual customer portal, like we call it demo. So what happened? All the interactions start when the customers do an outbound blast saying, "Hey, look, you didn't. Please send us the proof of insurance," or "You forgot your payment. Send it right now." So that's where the interaction starts. So they can do an SMS or an email blast.
Okay.
So they have their own proprietary API and telephony systems through which they do all the conversation, and that is something that they are looking at AWS services to replace that existing legacy system.
Yeah, definitely.
And so they have a database from where they have another trigger. Like they're still they're an AWS customer. They use Lambda to integrate with their third-party telephony systems to launch these SMS and email campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as we know that these are all asynchronous, right? You send an SMS, you don't expect message for God knows how many days or how many weeks, right? So what we did, and one of the concerns the customer had was able to derive the context of the conversation accurately. What happens is there are different level of escalation. So it might be a simple notification saying, "Hey, by the way, sorry, you forgot, send it." Or, "Hey, you are on a critical path, you send it now, or your insurance is canceled."
Mm-hmm.
So it can go, so the messages have different severities and priority. And so the customer's concern was, hey, how do you ensure that you are tracking the history of the conversation, severity and the severity, and apart from that, understand the intent of the customer. When they say, hey, we already faxed, or hey, we already took, or we are not paying it, we moved the car. So many ways people can respond, right? So we were able to build a system that can not only look at the historical conversation, look at the severity of the message, able to derive the intent, and more importantly, we also had to implement comprehend because they wanted to understand the sentiment. So the customer said that if the sentiment is negative, try to handle it accordingly. So it is like very, very intelligent system.
Right. That's awesome. And so this allows people to reply to those SMSs or those emails, and then you can kind of do some interpretation on what's going on behind this, like what they're trying to do, right?
Absolutely. So for SMS, we have used Lex. For emails, we have used comprehend because Lex has the limitation of like 2,000 characters or something like that, right? So we had to use comprehend to process emails. But so this is, you can see again some of our Lambda code and your favorite event bridge here, and and where they are invoking or fetching the data, fetching the SMS messages or email messages periodically. And so there are a couple of things that I want to highlight here. Traditionally, we all know that we have to train the bots to a certain level, right? Here you can see the training portion.
Yep.
Lex service anywhere between 8 to 30. I come from a very strong voice background where my first voice system way back in 2003 was we had to use like 300 phrases to train like a simple direct dialogue. So now it is much more efficient for with around 10 messages, with around 10 training sentences, you can make the system understand. That's the beauty. Right?
Yeah.
So that is something that is fascinating. And
it's hard to just think up 300 ways to say something, but like that's how complex language is there are, sometimes thousands of ways to say the same thing, and trying to come up with all of those is so hard. And so, yeah, this is awesome.
Yes, absolutely. So when we implemented, we listened to the existing conversation, we looked at their existing databases, we understood the business as a whole to see what are the pain points, right? Like suppose the customer is asking to send a proof of insurance. How hard is it for somebody to take a picture and send an SMS, right? Why would customer not send it? Or why would they be rude in certain cases? So we looked at the nuances of those conversations from the past experiences so that we train the bot accordingly.
Cool.
Another beauty of this system is first and foremost, the customer wants to manage. So we have enabled this platform so that once we went live and the customer handles everything. We have little interaction. Secondly, we were able to use some of the YAML-based configuration so that the training can be like automated. A process can be developed to automate the training process, the training piece.
Sure.
So that is something that we are very fascinated and proud of. So here you are looking at various intents. So the customer says, hey, typically they can say, oh, we have already paid. So you're looking at the version 1, is like by this time it would have crossed like more than 50 intents.
Right.
And very important thing is the way intents, you can specify parameters in terms of, hey, people can say name, people can say dates, all the custom elements can be automatically fetched and processed.
Right.
So you can see what are all the different things we have done, and we are like more in terms of the fallback intents and so on and so forth. So, and one thing we all have seen and noted is you can train intents with whatever knowledge you have. You always have one intent, one context that you don't handle. What do you do in that case, right? So we introduced again the human in the loop concept. So any intent that is not recognized, or any for a recognized intent, if we don't have an answer, it goes to a middle bucket where there's a person who looks at that and says, hey, why couldn't the system handle? And then what they could do is they can just answer to that particular for that particular query or an SMS. On the back end, what we have done is we have tracked all those intents where we fail to find a response or we fail to detect an intent. So it goes into another database, and we have another Lambda that looks at this database, takes those intents, creates a YAML file so that it can be fed to Lex and gets trained automatically.
Yep.
So we created that, like the customer was very specific. They are like, somebody cannot just go. I know like systems take time. So we handheld the customer to tell them the nuances of the application, the complications, and beyond which we developed a lot of automated processes so that they can start first and foremost, from the Lex perspective, it is automatically getting trained. From the customer's perspective, they are able to add intents as and when needed, and more importantly, as new intents, more importantly, they were able to even customize the messages. So, for example, right. So that is another key element. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I think it's great that you are really focusing on not only just building a solution, but also the continued support of like what happens after you walk away from that project. And I think as a consulting company, that's something really important to memorize, is how well can this be maintained after, we step away and deliver to the client. And it sounds like you set up a really great system to allow them to continue to grow and expand on the solution.
Absolutely. We have an enhanced, we established a process. We have different business units, and one of the units is the managed services. So as we are coming off a project, we have the managed services take a look at the system. They not only evaluate what we have done, but also understand what kind of support they have to provide. And so that the handover happens, and for the duration of our commitment and an engagement, the managed services will handhold the customer, help them run the system efficiently.
That's awesome. Well, great. I think that this was super informative, and I wanted to thank you all for having me on this webinar today. I know I learned a lot, and I hope that the viewers did as well. And so I think at this point we can turn the time back over to Mansi to lead us out.
Hey, thank you so much, Nagaraj. This was wonderful to understand all the use cases. I hope all of you in the audience also got some insights into all the work that we've done with various customers across industries. So to sum it up, ITTStar is an advanced consulting partner with 4 practice areas, which are listed here in front of you, which allows customers to focus on the desired capabilities in order to accelerate business outcomes. Let me start with the first one. Our automation practice reviews customer processes that can be automated using AI, ML, and robotic services. We have a team of deep learning and robotics experts who can automate complex processes using simple things like document and image recognition. Our data and analytics practice is a team of data engineers, data architects, and data scientists who help our customers collect and organize their business data into a data lake or a data warehouse on AWS to enable analytics capabilities for business intelligence and advanced analytics. Our application development practice helps customers build enterprise applications with AI ML capabilities. This team has UI UX consultants that create engaging and innovative products customized to our customers' needs. And lastly, our managed service practice onboard new customers to AWS and provide managed services to our customers so that our customers can focus on their business outcomes and let ITTStar help them with all the IT support they need. With this, we come to the end of this webinar, and we're happy to answer any questions that you may have from now on. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a couple of questions for Nagaraj and Tees from the attendees here. We'll try and answer as many as we can for the time that we have left. So the first question here is for Nagaraj. For the customers you've already implemented these solutions, what is the recurring cost and return on investment?
That's a great question. I'm sure like every customer is looking at that as one of the primary decision factors. So a lot depends on the type of solution that we are building. And one of the practice that we have is while we evaluate the business, we evaluate the solution, we also give the customer a synopsis of what are the different AWS services or the systems that we are going to use and what would be their recurring cost. So that is part of our like a delivery.
Thank you, Nagaraj. So the next question is, how do you compare your solution compared to Google and Microsoft? Do you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. So working here at AWS, we really focus, we get this question, and honestly, our big focus is not necessarily on our competitors and more just on making our products the best they possibly can be. And I can tell you some of the reasons why I love the AWS products that we have. One is, in addition to just the AI ML services specifically, what I like about developing on AWS is the overall ecosystem that you have. As you saw throughout several of those examples that we had Lambda kind of connecting all of the different pieces, and Lambda integrates with 47 services, which is more than you're going to see anywhere else. And additionally, just on the AI ML space, we have about twice as much ML being run as you'll find at another company. And so being such a customer-centric company that we are, when you factor in just the sheer quantity of both the ecosystem and the customer base, and then factor in the fact that 90% of the products we put out are motivated from direct customer feedback, you're just going to see rapid development and rapid release of either new services or improvements on existing ones. And so those are some of the big reasons why I like building on AWS.
Wow, that's amazing. So the next question that we have from the attendees is, what kind of resources do I need to implement such solutions?
We can probably tag team this one a little bit, but I would say the first thing that you need is an idea, which is kind of a generic answer, but that's kind of where it starts. For these types of solutions that we talked about during this presentation, so much of them are API driven. And so you would need some level of coding ability. I think that would be really important. They mentioned during the presentation, Python is what they did a lot of their Lambdas in. And so I think that that's a really good start. But even if you're just, you're not even there yet and you just want to kind of play around and see what these are like, I would recommend going into the AWS console. A lot of these have great little demos where you can post images and they'll try and identify who the person is. And so that's no coding experience at all. You can go ahead and start to see how the technology works. But then yes, to build out a solution, I would say at bare minimum, some kind of a scripting skill such as Python or JavaScript. Is there anything that you guys would add as far as getting started early on?
I would like to add one thing here, Tace. There are two aspects, right? As a small and medium businesses, there are a few things that they always want to, right? First and foremost, the cost matters. Second is able to manage the system on their own as much as possible, right? That is the general mode they work in. So as you rightly said, you just go to the console. Once you have the idea, you can see what services and how different services come together to create a system. I think even after the fact, right? Like there is definitely companies like ours will, along with AWS, offer support beyond developing and installing. But there are a lot of things that customers can manage on their own. I think which is a very valuable feature that many small and medium businesses look for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. So one last question before we close. There's an attendee who wants to know what was the AWS billing for all the three use cases that we spoke of. Nagraj?
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I can tell you that the numbers were not at all high. We can definitely talk with the customers. Whoever asked the question, we can have detailed discussion. We can talk more, but numbers are pretty decent. I can tell you that.
Yeah, to elaborate on that, most of what you guys built was based off of a serverless framework. And so what that means is when you're not currently processing images or text or whatever it may be, you're not paying for anything. So during the downtime, it's not incurring charges, and you're only really incurring those charges as you are actively processing something. And if you go to the Lambda or any of the other pages, you'll be able to see the pricing breakdown. But yeah, there's quite a lot of opportunities there for you to cut down on prices.
Okay, thank you so much. We have some more questions, but due to lack of time, we're going to answer those questions individually via email. So thank you everyone for joining. It was great to have all of you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.